They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness. They talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness, talking all of this madness. They talking all of this madness.
What's up, everybody? You are watching, you are listening to the Matt Matters Network live on YouTube. I'm your host for the night, Aloe and Lloyd. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Yes, thank you. So it's just me tonight. Eric last minute he had to put out a couple fires, but I'm here for you guys tonight. So as always, make sure to be watching on YouTube for your best listening/viewing experience. So make sure you guys do that. Also, Ringside Club will use code MMAN to save 10% off your order. And make sure to thumbs up, subscribe, like, and turn on your post notifications. So, going for a couple of weeks, but let's see what's going on. The Rock out here looking like he went from the final boss to the supervisor. So we got that. What? Yes, we got that. What else we got? Oh, by the way, all the Cowboy fans that was in my comments on here in TikTok, this for you.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what's going on in the world. Go Birds, baby. So I didn't watch much over the past couple of weeks, guys, other than the advertised content. Nothing too much out the ordinary other than that. So we got WrestlePalooza coming up next week. That'll be the first PLE live on the E, aka ESPN. We got that coming up next week on the 20th. So we got that coming up. So we'll get right into it since I'm solo tonight. So we got probably one of the biggest returns that we would possibly never get ever in WWE history. And I think we were all this person as well when it actually did happen. So I think shout out to this content creator as well, because I'm pretty sure we were all him the second we heard that music.
All right, Brody, I'm finna go inside.
All right, so, all right, guys. So hell finally froze over again. So we got the return of AJ Lee back to WWE. Like I said, something we never thought we would actually end up getting. And if you're under a rock, AJ Lee is the wife of CM Punk, if you're legit under a real rock. But this is something that was speculated heavily right after Clash in Paris, when Becky Lynch got involved in the Fatal 4-Way and cost Punk the heavyweight championship of the world, that AJ Lee will be returning. Like I said, something we never thought we would end up getting, but we actually finally do get it. And this is actually really exciting. She looked great. Abs still abbing. Didn't look like she aged a day. She still got it. Cadence, everything is perfect to skip. She did make a comment on Raw about retiring her Chuck Taylor. She did because she started to wear Vans. So I did appreciate that. She's probably the only person in the planet that could actually get a therapy chant over. And that is what she actually did. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm very excited. Anytime we got AJ Lee over the past, few years, it was seen as a win, because we never thought we would actually see her in the world of wrestling again. Because I remember a few years back that we got her involved in Women of Wrestling with Jeannie Buss. I believe she was a part of some creative team or something along those lines. But we took that as a win because everybody just wanted some of AJ Lee. So we got that. But now we're getting something that we probably never thought we would have got. Like I said, we got AJ Lee back. And now it's interesting because she's a part of that crop of women that shaped this new generation of women. You hear Chelsea Green and Maxine Dupree, for example, they always discuss how Total Divas got them into wrestling. Then they didn't necessarily watch, but they watched Total Divas, and that got them into it. And then you have the women who were diehard fans, and they were all AJ Lee fans. Like you got the Baileys, you got the Roxanne Perez, you had Cora Jade / Elena Black. You got third. When CM Punk first came back, CM Punk even took a picture of it with all of them saying, I'm with all of AJ Lee's children, because they were all they're all into wrestling because of AJ Lee, and as she said, she is your favorite wrestler. So it's really enjoyable to see that because, like I said, like we're kind of got our older generation. It's crazy to think that Nikki Bella, AJ Lee are like the old guard, and they're in here with our new generation of women. So it's really interesting to have that whole concept of it. But there's so many possibilities now. Like we didn't get AJ versus Becky Lynch, but now we're getting that. We didn't get AJ. We can now get AJ Lee versus Roxanne Perez, AJ Lee versus Charlotte, AJ Lee versus Io Sky, AJ Lee versus Rhea Ripley. Everything is fresh. Everything is new. And I'm so excited to have her back. I'm not going to get too much into what I thought about her dealing with Rollins and Becky, because I'm going to say that for next week when we preview WrestlePalooza. But the endless possibilities of AJ Lee back in WWE, and she's here. She's here to stay. It was a multi-year deal. She's here to stay. And the storylines that they can actually tell. We could probably even finally get a payoff to the whole Bayley awkward hug at NXT segment. We could finally probably get a proper payoff to that. But the excitement level of AJ Lee being back is high. And I definitely am looking forward to it because so much AJ Lee could actually give in this division now. And one more thing is I talked about she being part of the old guard with the new guard. Also with the new guard from an in-ring perspective, I've always said I hold them in higher regard than a lot of the men. So when it comes to AJ Lee getting in the ring with these newer women, I'm curious to see what she looks like from an in-ring perspective with these new dance partners that she can actually have. AJ Lee was great with the minimal talent that she had back then from an in-ring perspective, no disrespect. But now the talent is even elevated even more. So I cannot wait to see what we actually get from that when it comes to AJ Lee. So we're going to stay in the women's division for a second next because this is something that when John was here, we previewed SummerSlam. We discussed this for a second. It's Jade and Tiffany for the Women's Championship. Now, this is actually going to be on SmackDown, guys, this upcoming Friday. And I talked about this a few weeks ago when we were talking about I believe it was Chris Jericho possibly coming back to WWE. We talked about that. And I talked about how Triple H, he doesn't overexpose you, but I think he underexposes. And I think this is a prime example of the underexposing. I really do. Because these two women are stars in the making. And I think that they need to be on TV more, especially Tiffany, because I'll get to my next point about Tiffany in a little bit, but this feud has pretty much been backstage segments since SummerSlam. And that's not how we need to be leading to a match. Now, I do love how Triple H does book things and try to make SmackDown and Raw actually mean more by having the payoff on these shows and not just on pay-per-view. So I like that aspect to make it more special. But I think these two and their story have been underexposed, because how many times can Jade actually come out and continuously say that, I had you. She can't keep doing that. And that's pretty much a lot of the substance that we're getting. And that's what's leading to this. It's all pretty much backstage segments. Now, also when it comes to this, Tiffany Stratton, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal in every category, legit, every category.
Lord have mercy.
Yes. But I think her title reign has been lackluster. I really do. I think that there's a lot left on the table. I think she's underexposed. I do think her feud with Charlotte, it was a little cringe sometime, but I do think they got the match that they needed out of it. Definitely a match of the year contender. She had the match with Trish. I thought that was Trish's best match of her career. But Tiffany Stratton, as women's champion, has been mediocre. Not her fault. But also, Tiffany Stratton has no business being a babyface. Zero at all. I don't think so. I just don't. I don't think so. I don't see it. Her run in NXT was fantastic, phenomenal, but I just don't get why at this moment that she is a babyface still at this point. Now, she's pretty much been unbeatable all year as champion, but also at the same time, I think she's underexposed. I don't think she needs to be babyface. And I don't think she's had a lot to grasp onto other than that Charlotte feud. Because this Jade feud, Jade won Queen in the Ring, and then going into the match at SummerSlam, I thought it was mediocre. And now I still think this is mediocre going forward. Now, my prediction, I think this might be where you put the belt on Jade. Because it's like, okay, what do you do with Tiffany from here? Because we still have to remember we're going to get Bianca back soon. And also at the same time, we have assumably that Bianca and Jade will be the WrestleMania match, because earlier this year when Evolution got announced, I made the prediction that Jade versus Bianca would be the Evolution main event, but it wasn't. Bianca got hurt. We don't know the original plans. It ended up being Naomi and Jade. So we'll have to see, but I think that Jade will end up beating Tiffany on SmackDown this Friday to become the new women's champion. And another thing we're going to talk about in the we're not women's division, but this is a former WWE superstar at this point. Ronda Rousey was on the Lapsed Fan podcast, and she got a lot of attention over the week of her comments, specifically about working with Alexa Bliss. And we're going to play those comments for you right now.
When you beat Alexa Bliss, it was Alexa Bliss, right? You beat
The
for the
fact that they
title
had me
first time.
fighting Alexa Bliss at all was fucking ridiculous.
But
and you want to know why they had me against Alexa Bliss?
Yes.
Because she had
Yes.
the most merch sales at the time.
Right, exactly.
On that side. Like, what
And-
the fuck?
And
Like,
right
that's
there,
your decision-making process?
like you should have gone in there and armbar in first thing, and it's done. And you just beat her. Like that to me, like you should have been just crushing people. And
Stop
I
talking
think
sense in a nonsensical world.
that's
That's how
exactly
you end
it.
up going
I know.
crazy. That's how you end up leaving after your second run and being like, fuck this. I'm writing a comic book.
Which I hate to break it to you, but Alexa cleared you out.
All right, so that was Ronda Rousey on her feud with Alexa Bliss in 2018. So, and of course, in great form, we had MJF give his 2 cents, and his 2 cents was, and I quote, "It's almost like pro wrestling. It's almost like pro wrestling, much like any professional sport, functions as a business." Fucking crazy. So you gotta salute to MJF for that. So my whole thing is, why is Ronda so upset? I think she's like just thinks it's like things like a shoot. I really do. I don't understand, especially 2018 Alexa Bliss, because 2018 Alexa Bliss is goated. That's when she was on top of the world. That's when she was Little Miss Bliss. That's when she was everything, and at the peak of her run. And Ronda's complaining because you put me with Alexa Bliss because you're an MMA fighter and you're in this kayfabe sport challenging for the title against the number one merch seller in the division, and you're complaining. Now, Ronda Rousey's 2018, early 2019 run, I think it was great. I think it was really good. I think it exceeded all expectations. I really do, 100%. I thought she got a hell of a match at Nia Jax. Me, Eric, and the crew, we were also at her Royal Rumble debut after the match, and we also at her WrestleMania debut, teaming with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie. And she exceeded, and she delivered in that as well. But her 2018 run, they let her go. She had some great matches, great moments, definitely overachieved. Now, the 2022 run, a surprise return in the Royal Rumble, 100% cringe. I thought there was a lot left on the table with her. I really do. We never got the Becky Lynch payoff match. We never got that. Her matches with Charlotte, it still wasn't better than the Survivor Series match, in my opinion, that they had a few years prior. And it just, I don't know, nothing. It just didn't click the same. I think that we all just moved past Ronda Rousey, and her star kind of went away. We didn't see the star power anymore in 2022 from Ronda Rousey as we did in 2018. And then even 2023, it seemed like she was just like an afterthought. Granted, she was women's tag champs with Shayna Baszler and things like that, but we just didn't care anymore. Like, the whole aura was gone. It wasn't the same anymore. So and Booker T was talking about this on his podcast as well, that wrestling gave her probably more than what UFC did. She probably made more money. The wrestling fans embraced her, but for her to have this attitude about pro wrestling is a little off for a lot of people. So that was Ronda Rousey's thoughts on the Lapsed Fan podcast. Now, something else I want to talk about, which is getting very interesting, is this. It's going to be Jey Uso and his brother. They're reuniting at WrestlePalooza to take on Division, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. And the Usos, they've been kind of aligning themselves with LA Knight lately, for the last few weeks. And backstage on Raw Monday night, Big Jim goes up to Jay, and Jay's talking, and Jimmy's saying to Jay, "You starting to sound like Roman." And I think that is awesome. That's another layer to this entire thing, because with that happening, Jay's all about the title. It's kind of like the title did something to him, and he's kind of like going into that place Roman went into, all in for himself, all about the title. And I think this is a great dynamic to actually have, and another story you could tell, because I would not be mad at a Jey Uso heel turn at this point. I really wouldn't, because he's been the most popular guy on the roster for the last 2.5 years. And we talked about this in the summer. It's like, okay, he lost the heavyweight championship to Gunther, but what do you do with him after that? And that's a valid question, because now you got him teamed back up with his brother. But okay, but do you want to go back to that? He's become too big he's become too big of a star to just go back tagging with his brother. This is how you do it. I think a whole story of Jay kind of turning heel and kind of showing those shades of Roman, and then Roman coming back, because they're going to be dealing with division still. Excuse me. Because they'll still be dealing with division, especially going into War Games. You have to assume that's going to be the War Games match. So you're going to get that, and then you'll get the twist of Roman now trying to control Jay. That Jay, this is not what you want to do. That title can change you. This changes you as a person, and the conflict between Jay trying to do the right thing and then get his title back is going to be a really good thing that I could actually see happen. A great story, and we could also probably potentially get that Jimmy versus Jay match again, because that match at WrestleMania, I'm sorry, it was underwhelming. Me and Eric, we came up here talking about that was one of our most anticipated matches of the weekend, and it fell flat. So that is something that WWE actually has in their back pocket as well, and I can't wait to actually see what actually happens with that. Also, something that's kind of been teased a little bit a few years back, but now they're teasing it again. We had Bo Dallas interact with the Street Profits a few weeks ago. Street Profits lost to the Wyatt Six at Clash in Paris, and during that time, they were building some dysfunction between Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Now, if you guys remember, a few years back, they kept trying to tease a singles run from Montez Ford. He had a few singles matches. I believe he beat Austin Theory. He was in the chamber for the U.S. title, and it was a popular pick for him to win the United States Championship in the chamber. And if there's a time to actually make him a solo guy, I think it is now. I really do. I think that you can make Montez Ford a heel or baby face because one, good looking brother. And as you know, good looking people, it's like he's a heel. That just screams heel. But also he could be the biggest baby. He could be the biggest baby face ever. He really can. And at the expense of Angelo Dawkins, like I don't want Angelo Dawkins to get tuckied. But I think he's better than Tucker, and I think there'll be a place for him in the company. But I think it's time to let the chains off of off of Montez Ford. I really do. Montez Ford, phenomenal athlete. Every time he gets in the ring, he steals the show. He really does. And it's time for him to have that moment. He's also somebody that I think they're leaving a lot of money on the table with as a singles competitor. I really do. And I think it's time for him to kind of spread his wings and go off to be a solo. I remember when Angelo Dawkins was in NXT for years. He was in NXT for the longest time. And they were trying to find something to work for him. You know, he was working that Curse of Greatness. I believe that's what it was. Curse of Greatness gimmick, coming out, stirring the pot, doing LeBron stuff in the ring. Had a few tag team partners. It didn't work out. But then I remember we went to the NXT show at the Fillmore, I believe. And that was when we were all introduced to Montez Ford. And Montez Ford stole the show. We were calling him Red Shoes, and he was legit the star. And everybody was very happy to actually see him. And he became a fan favorite instantly. So did Angelo Dawkins and Street Profits have been on TV ever since. But if there's a time to do it, I think it's now. I think it's time for Montez Ford to go out and be a singles and spread his wings because the fans want it. Everybody wants it. And it's something new. And that's all we need, something new to grasp onto. And that's Montez Ford becoming a single star. And he's definitely a future champion, in my opinion. Whether it's the IC or the U.S. Championship, Montez Ford is definitely going to be a star in the singles division as well. Now, next up, we had an interesting event happen during a commercial break on Raw Monday night. AJ Styles cut a promo saying he was all alone. He was all alone. Gallows and Anderson aren't here. Meechin aren't here. And how he got screwed out of the IC title by El Grande Americano. Now, and then he also says somebody in the back is also holding me back. And rumors are that AJ Styles' contract will be expiring soon, so on and so forth. And I have no idea what they're doing to AJ Styles. I really don't. Last time we were here, we knew that Dom would be challenging for the AAA title, and I predicted that Dom would win the AAA title, but drop the IC title to AJ Styles in Paris on Raw last week, but it didn't happen that way. And now AJ Styles is pretty much directionless again. I'm not sure where they're going with this. We saw him pop up in TNA at Slammiversary a couple months ago, and we didn't get a lot built off of that. But he says somebody in the back doesn't want me here, and I'm interested to see what it has to be. I'm not sure if that means Triple H. I'm not sure if Triple H should have interaction with AJ Styles about this or whatever, or he's start personally calling him out. But we have to assume that AJ Styles' run is coming to an end soon. And I think AJ Styles has had a hell of a run, probably the best rookie year in WWE history. You can make the argument between him, Kurt Angle, and Brock Lesnar. I'll argue him because he beat the biggest star in the company and then immediately won the world title after that, especially being a guy that nobody expected ever to be in WWE, being a TNA guy, not a Vince creation. He immediately rose to the top and was immediately one of the faces of the company. So I don't know what we're going to get from AJ Styles, but AJ Styles has had definitely an amazing all-time great run. Still one of the best workers in the world, but he's been completely directionless for the last 2-3 years in WWE. He has. And that's That's all pretty much I have on my agenda for you tonight, guys. Also, we got NXT Homecoming next week. I cannot wait to watch it. They did a great job stacking up. I really wish that I didn't forget it was Homecoming because I had a hell of a idea that came to me last minute today for a show topic. So maybe we'll get that to you guys in the next few weeks or so. But as always, guys, make sure to subscribe to the podcast, thumbs up, turn on your post notifications. Ringside Collectibles, code MMadness to save 10% off your order. That'll be it for the show, guys. I'm Elon Lloyd, and I will see you guys soon.
Got him now, put him down right now, hit him with the palm handle. Tuning up the band, y'all don't understand. Fist of Superman, it's a SummerSlam. Here we go again. Fans marking man, I hate my balls. Shut the Vince McMahon, it ain't shake the land off the sale. Fans love it, ain't hard to tell. Talking madness, awesome. Well, what I'm cooking, man, y'all off the smell.